Hello, my name is Alicia Panzarella, and I am currently at Manheim Township, where they have done a fantastic job of integrating technology into the classroom. Now that is fantastic for the students and for the faculty, but it made my job of trying to find an area that technology could improve upon just a little bit difficult. Now, however, I was approached by my cooperating teacher who had a problem of her own that she wanted me to solve. She at any given time has about 50 things to do, and she manages to get them all done perfectly and on time. I don't know how she does it. She's like Superwoman. But in all that she has to do, she finds that there are some extra things that she'd like to do, but just doesn't have time to make the lesson plans, create the activity, and present it to the class. So one of the things that she wanted to do with her 9th grade honors class was get them talking in front of the class. She wanted them to present something. And the topic was what STEM means. Now, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers. And she wanted the students to just research about the STEM careers and present to the class. Now, that's about as far as she got. She wasn't able to make it the lesson plan, the rubrics, the checklist, anything for the students. And she asked if I could do this. She said that I could do pretty much anything with the project that I wanted, and to just show it to her when I was done. So, as I was creating this project and trying to think of what I wanted the students to do, I realized that the students weren't very good in Excel, which I was a little surprised at because from AP to the 9th grade honors classes, Excel is a very important part of doing labs. Creating bar graphs, creating scatter plots, knowing how to make XY tables is very important, and I found that the students ranging from 9th grade to her senior honors class they are struggling with Excel. So I really wanted to utilize Excel in this presentation because the 9th grade class hasn't gotten much exposure to Excel. They have used a different tool called graphical analysis, but it is a very, very, very basic version, and you're not able to do as much that Excel allows you to do. And in some of their labs and in some of their projects, they need the more advanced version to be able to get their answers. So that's what I did a lot in this project, was really honing in on how to use Excel, how to use the different tools. So where this project actually starts is in Google. Now, Manheim Township is a Google school, which means that every student has a Gmail account, which is great because that gives you Google Docs, it gives you the Google version of PowerPoint, and it gives you the Google version of Excel, which is fantastic, which means that these students can do their work at home as well as in class. So to present to you the project that they will be doing, this is what the students have. It's 3 pages. This is a 3-page checklist that the students must complete. But for our purposes, I created a PowerPoint in order to present the project. So I am just going to make myself little. So here, that's actually the end of the PowerPoint. If we go up here into View, Present, I can bring up the PowerPoint. So here we go. I'm going to move myself here. This is a STEM project that I created. The learning goal for this project, I will move myself up there now, is that students will be able to accurately define what STEM means and provide examples related to the various fields. The students within the packet are given their goal. The first thing that they're told is that the project has been broken down into several sections, and once they have completed a section, they must see the teacher so they can review the work. This was my version of putting in some formative assessment because at different points I want to see that the students have gotten enough information and that they're on the right track. I don't want them finishing the PowerPoint with only having completed half of the work, 1 graph. I want to make sure that they have everything completed and they are ready to go in order to present. So the next thing is that the students will be creating a PowerPoint, as I said, explaining what STEM means, and they also must research careers involved in STEM and determine which job is the coolest and that appeals to them the most. Now again, this is a 9th grade class. I was trying to get them a little excited about this presentation by saying, what's the coolest job? And tell the class why this is the coolest job. So that is their actual goal for this project, is to convince the class that this career is the best of all the STEM careers. So within doing this, they must complete the checklist that has been provided to them, and all parts of the checklist must be fully answered and included in their Google Doc. So this is where our checklist starts. Again, they must define what STEM means, research careers in the field, and they must include a minimum of 2 careers per STEM career in the Google Doc. So they must have a minimum of 8 different careers within that. Now, with the careers that they listed, they must include 3 points of information for each of them. They can't just go through and say, oh, well, here's 8 careers that I found doing a 5-minute Google search. No, they actually have to have information for each of them, and then from there, they will decide which one that appeals to them the most. Now, once they have decided which career appeals to them the most, they must find a minimum of 5 points of information. That information must include one successful person in the career and a brief biography of that person, the current average salary. They must determine if this is a growing field or not, and one interesting fact that they find. And again, they must answer at this point why they think that this career is the coolest. Now they must stop once they have answered these questions, and they must show it to myself or my cooperating teacher that they have completed all these steps and that they have completed these steps fully. If they have not, we're going to tell them that they have to go back and finish, but hopefully everyone will have completed all of the checkpoints, and they can begin researching the information to put into the PowerPoint. That information is in part 2. So they must start with a title in their PowerPoint, introducing the slide, defining what STEM means. Every student must define what STEM means. I know that it's going to get repetitive when they do the presentation, but I need to know that every student knows what it means. And then within that same slide, they must choose their career and tell us what their career is. Now, the other information, again, there must be information on the career, a notable person in that career. They must answer how this career has advanced over time and where is it going. They must answer the current salary, interesting facts about the career, and once again, why is this the coolest career? Now, some of this information is from the initial checkpoint, but I just need to make sure that all this information is within the PowerPoint. Now, here's where more of the integrating technology comes into with Excel. Within the presentation, they must include a minimum of 3 graphs. 2 I have already set out for them. One must be a bar graph and one must be a line graph. So I have actually created an example of what I want the students to do with this. So here we have the Google version of Excel. The first graph that I want them to create is a graph of how the salary has changed over time. Now, the numbers that I have picked are purely made up. I made up the years that the salaries were the salaries coincided with. So everything is made up, as is the information on the next graph. So I just chose nanotechnology as my career and made a simple line graph of how the salary has increased over time. For the second graph that they must make a bar graph comparing the salary of their field, so my nanotechnology field, compared to other points. And those other points would be the careers and salaries. Now, when we go over and do the formative assessment at the end of this, I'm going to be looking to make sure that they have enough points for their graph. So they can't just go up and have, 2010, 2015, and 2000 for their salaries. They must have as many years as you could probably find. There may only be, some fields are relatively new, so they may only find 2012, 2011, 13, 14, 15, but some other fields have, started back in, 1965. So they're going to have to do that, and I think I'm going to have to specify a little bit more how many points I want. As for the bar graph, also, they can't just put in like 2 other careers. So they are just examples of the graphs that I would like. And then once they've completed those 2, they can make a graph of their choosing. So they can make a pie graph, bar graph, another line graph, whatever they would like, but they just need to have a minimum of 3 graphs. Now, I did note that they must create the XY table in their Google Docs in that Excel spreadsheet, but it does not need to be included in the presentation. Only the graph needs to be included. Once again, we're going to stop here and do a little bit of formative assessment just to make sure that, again, their graphs are correct, they have all the information before they actually begin the PowerPoint. So here's the third part of the checklist. As I mentioned, this is where they are going to be creating the PowerPoint. And they need to make sure to include pictures and an appropriate amount of animation. If they are unsure how much animation to include, they must see the instructor. I do want some animation because I do want them working with the different tools within PowerPoint. However, I do not want 17 different animations on one side with every single word coming in with a spiral. That is a little bit too much. So if they do have any problem with that, they do need to come see us to see how much is too much. Now they must rehearse their PowerPoint because they will be presenting to the class why the career is the coolest. And as stated before, that their goal is to convince the class that their career is the best of all the STEM careers. Now I created a rubric on how they're going to be graded. The main points is comprehension, that they have answered all the checkpoints. They have answered all the points within the checklist. I need to make sure that they have the graph and graphical analysis saying this career is increasing, the salary is decreasing. Their presentation and preparedness. Now I have the first rubric I made is right here. Now upon reviewing this with my cooperating teacher, we decided that I had originally thought this presentation was only going to be worth about 20 points. However, I learned that how she does it is everything is worth a lot. So this project is actually going to be worth 100 points, which means I have to go back and include a little bit more within this rubric. But for right now, the basis of it is, as I said, comprehension. I need to make sure that the student has addressed all key points and has gone above and beyond what I've asked for. Please don't just tell me, one quick thing about the career. You've actually went in and researched it. The graphical analysis as stated. Now I did put emphasis on the presentation and their preparedness. I did that because my cooperating teacher's whole goal of this was to get the students in front of the classroom, because up until this point they haven't done a lot of presentations. But like in any field, you need to be able to prepare your research, be able to back it up, and then present that in front of a group. And that goes for any field. So that's why half of the points are going to come from, I just want to come from the presentation and how prepared they are. I just want to make sure that they actually are preparing for the presentation, that all their ducks are in a row, they know what's going to come on each PowerPoint, on each slide of the PowerPoint, and they'll be able to answer questions. So I want to make sure they're prepared. I want to make sure that they can back up what they say and back up why they think this is the coolest topic. And again, this skill applies to any field. So right now, that's how the rubric looks. However, this will be changing, and many, many, many more points are going to be added to it. So that is the end of the presentation. These students will actually be conducting this project before May. So I will actually have some feedback before the end of our semester on how this project went. Hopefully I will be able to let you know how it goes, and that is the end of the STEM project.